Hey y'all, Editor Brian here again. Just figure I'll give a little bit of background on this stream since a little bit is different. I forgot to hit the record button. I only hit the stream button today, so I didn't have a perfect physical copy to make this VOD from, and I had to use Twitch's. Twitch most often ends up muting a couple of tracks for each stream, so I ended up having portions of the stream with no audio. I went back and re-added the music from the band, but my comments are lost. Granted, during the reactions, most of the time I'm bouncing ideas off of the community anyways, and so you're getting half of that since the chat is still on the screen, but there's probably about 6 or 7 minutes of this 2-hour stream where my lips will be moving, but no sound will come out of them. Anyways, thanks for your patience and understanding on this. Hello. How is everyone doing on this Sunday? I'm a little late. Yes. But, I think that's the one of the benefits, one of the perks of being the host is I can kind of show up whenever I want. Now, granted, I would never show up like an hour late. I think that'd just be rude, but a couple of minutes, it's my stream. I think I'm allowed a little bit of variance there. It's all about perspective. Ah, yes, I'm like a wizard there, always arriving precisely when I mean to. We got Johnny here, the Youth Worship Explosion, who wonders if they get a cookie for being first. No one's ever brought up a reward for being first before. I don't know. You want to give me your address? I'll get an Uber Eats, the largest cook in your area. Just randomly showing up at your house. FHI's here, Synips, a Lair Finder, Spiral Out, Charm Tiger, Johnny. I don't know if I've called you out already. You're here though. Maybe you're here twice. I don't know. We got a lot of people here though to kick the day off. Vale is here. This is it's gonna be a good day, I think. Shading with the gray. Cool. Maryland. I'm trying to get everyone, but chat's moving quick. The Wind 67. That's the first time, right? Welcome to the stream. What kind of streams do? We do music reaction streams that also veer off into language, philosophy, my hatred of the current genre system for music. It's a little bit of everything. You should get a cookie for using channel points. Jeez. I'm just going to start sending cookies out to everyone. That's going to be like the weirdest thing. It's the new Patreon reward tier. Brian will send you a cookie. What does that have to do with music? I don't know, but it's a thing now. That's not that's not an L? Wait, that's a 1? Is it 1 Finder 23? The font is really throwing me there. Okay, so it is a 1. Yeah. This font's really weird, but in Twitch I can see that it's a 1. So it's 1 Finder 23. Okay. Or is it Finder or Finder? Probably Finder. Air would have 2 R's, like error. Oh, Pear's here. Cool. Very, very awesome. When do you ask viewers for music suggestions? It's pre-planned through the Patreon. If you'd like to join that, I'll get the link up for you. You got to be at the critic tier or higher. You get 1 request every single month. You misspelled hello. It looks like hello to me. Oh, the one previously. Hell here, I'm Johnny. Johnny Blaze, right? It's difficult to pronounce it. It's a German word. Okay, I gotcha. I'll look into German pronunciation so I can get it properly next time. It translates to inventor. That's pretty cool. The Brian cult. Everyone welcome to the cult of music. We worship at the altar the magic of sonar and other sonic properties. All right, let's get this kicked off. Let's get rolling into this because we do have quite a few tracks on the longer side today. And we got a lot of stuff I'm not too familiar with, so this is going to be interesting. Having problems getting a video stream though? It's okay now. Okay. I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully it stays solid for you. I know Twitch can kind of be awkward at times. The air at the start should work. The I is the most difficult part about it. Short and sharp. Like Airfinder? Oh, where's the emphasis too? The first, second, or third syllable. Wet on a golf course? Golfing in the rain, dude, that sounds terrible. Wind is already pretty bad. All right, so I'm pretty close to that. All right, I got it. Now the tough part though is remembering it. But if I mispronounce it, let me know a few times, and I should have the gist, get that muscle memory rolling in the brain. All right, let's dive into this. We're gonna kick it off with some Matter Mortem. Emphasis is on the fin part of the word. Okay. Erfinder. I think that's close. I'm getting there. I'll listen to a pronunciation of it later, and that'll help me with it. How long will the streams go? The aim is about 2 hours. Last week's was 3 though, so it goes until we finish the list. Twitch centered title without the E. Huh. I wonder what that's slang for. Just missing the weird German R. Yeah, I'll have to go listen to it. But I'm glad I'm getting close, even if it's an Americanized closeness. All right, Matter Mortem with the track Armour. This one comes at us from Pear. Time for one of my favorite songs from the really underappreciated Norwegian band Matter Mortem. He actually did another song from this album that I requested for a live stream back in 2021, which I don't expect you to remember, of course. Smiley face. I gotta find a font that shows smiley faces. Or maybe that actually might be an issue with OBS now that I think about it. It's a very different song though. Well, like you mentioned, that was a long time ago. I don't remember it anyway, so can't compare, but it's going to be interesting to see what they're doing today. Let's dive into this. See what's going on with Matter Mortem's Armour. Yeah, I'm digging the album art too. What is solar punk? Oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. I'd never heard of that before. Ooh, interesting. Steampunk with wind turbines is wild. That pickup note into the chorus was interesting because the vocalist hit it on 4, but the band came in just after 4, and it didn't really have the impact of a pickup note, of coming in just a little early. It feels like it kind of slid into it. Very different feeling than I expected. You know, you're onto something there about the melody being familiar. It's the first sentence of the chorus. it Major Tom from Bowie? Vocals or a theremin? Vocals, okay. I take that back. I don't think it is Major Tom. It's a song. I don't know if that's the name of the song, but it's a David Bowie track. Space Oddity, that's the track I'm thinking of, yeah. I like the layering, lots of cool things going on here. Yeah, I dug that though. Solid track. Okay. Well, I've learned something today. Deezer has a new thing called Quick Access where you can pin specific songs or playlists. And I was like, cool, this is perfect for lining up reaction songs, just one per pin. Except it looks like it builds an entire queue out of it, even though I have automated recommendations turned off. All right, guess I'll have to figure something else out. Back to the old playlists, I guess. I dug that though. Yes, I switched over to Deezer over the break. I still have the Spotify thing up here because it's just easier to show that, and Deezer doesn't have a clean bring up the album art thing. But I'll be transferring over some of the UI to use Deezer stuff. Yeah, though, I like the riffs on this. I like the mood on this. The vocals are solid. I don't think that they stand out to me a lot, as the Youth Worship Explosion had mentioned, but strong vocals. I like the softness in the lighter sections, the more belted elements in the heavier sections. You mentioned that she can get grittier too, so I'm kind of interested in seeing that side. Maybe I already have. Also, I got to go back and listen to that track that we had in the live stream a couple years back. The guitar work, the drum work, the bass work, all nicely balanced. It's interesting because it is sort of mood-based, vibe-based, more than riff-based, but it's not devoid of riffs either. There's some memorable riff work in there, and I like that balance, kind of doing both sides there. Some parts were close to Amy Lee's. I did like at the end, we started to get a little bit more belting from the vocalist, and we saw the layering up, just a nice way to ramp up the energy there. And maybe not the best track to show off the vocalist, but I think a really solid track to just kind of get an understanding of what the band does, kind of their general sound. So yeah, I enjoyed that. I have to pull that one down, which I think I said last time too. I'm pretty sure Matter Mortem is in my lengthy live stream look into later list already, but toss that one in there too. What do I think of Deezer so far? It's fine. I don't think it stands out as well, and there's a couple of UI things I'm not too happy about. Some of it I think stems from me using the web version rather than the desktop app. But it works. It's fine. I haven't seen a lot of AI stuff, which is nice. It hasn't recommended me any AI stuff, which is nice. And I've been using it in the reactions too, and the time stamping and all that stuff still works. So I kind of had to find a way around it. It's not as clean as the Spotify API method, and Deezer has an API, just no one's written a nice app for it yet. So I don't know, maybe that's something that'll happen around the corner. Maybe I'll end up doing it if I really need to enough. But right now the hack is kind of working. At least the CEO isn't terrible. Yeah, the CEO is fine, but it's also like 40% owned by uh not great shareholders. I can't remember it specifically, but yeah, it isn't perfect in the ownership area. Tencent? I don't think it's Tencent, but there are some bad actors owning a large portion of shares. Struggle with the UI a bit when I use it at first. I don't think, well, see, I'm not a heavy user of it either. I make a couple playlists, I put the reaction stuff in there, and then I have my library, which I just mostly search for artists anyways. I have noticed that in the bottom play bar, there isn't really an easy way to get to the album of whatever's currently playing. I think that's my biggest issue with it so far, but that's tiny because I don't listen to playlists usually, so I'm usually in the album page already. The music biz is terrible. It absolutely is. Palantir. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if they had their hands in Spotify simply because of all the data you can learn about people based off of what they listen to. Lyrics alone probably gives pretty good insight into people's ideological standings and political standings, and that can certainly be weaponized. So Palantir having their hands in a music platform, yeah, that seems right up their alley. Buy CDs and rip the songs to hard drives. Well, CDs are still cheap. The big problem is that CDs are so expensive, especially for my position where I would need a track off of like thousands of CDs every year in order to do this criticism job right here. Music critic, that's the word. So $25 for 100? Lossless files in bulk, lots for cheap on eBay. Huh. I never even thought about the secondhand market for CDs. Mid to low end did not stick out as much as I remembered from the album. Interesting. I didn't even think about that, but it is from 91, and it feels cleaner and more modern than I would expect for a track that old. Morning, Kevin. How you doing? Someone else joined in that I missed? Think so. Well, I apologize if you joined in, said hello or something, and I missed it. You can resell them once you're done too. Permanent ownership, obviously not as convenient as streaming, but that's a price you're willing to pay for the most part. And see, I was all in on CDs prior to starting this channel too, and then just using YouTube audio, which I guess is fine, especially since the audio is going to get reprocessed in the reaction video anyways. But I don't know if you remember, I was pretty against streaming in general back when I started the Discord. I remember having some conversations about it, but it's too convenient for what I need it for. Buy 100 CDs, burn them, resell them for the same price seems like a solid plan. Oh, that's my fault. I'm looking at the wrong album. So yeah, you're right. 2009. 1991 is what we're going to look at later with the band Swervedriver, which is a wild name. All right, next up we have a Dark Millennium, Inside the Sunburn Thoughts of Frost. That is a wild title there. This one comes at us from Novin Styles, overlooked prog, death doom from 92. I find the sharp vocals and higher energy death metal sections suddenly cutting through the atmosphere fun. I'm always down for some fun death metal. Let's check this out, see what's going on.
The deed is not the sin, but the thought. Sliding the aesthetics of the tempter light. Trapped beneath the laughter, insanity in disguise. Eyes controlling and screaming like reality. Infection, junction in the brain. Orientation. Heartsman, yeah, the call of the wolves. The illusory smile of a blood-spitting mouth. After reduction with aspiration. Pray to the sins. Have we bruised, divide the frost with the pride? We have failed. We have played with the total.
Hey, Cracked Machine, welcome. You can turn off the description anytime. Yeah, I just noticed it.
I wonder why I wonder. Still my guilty lets me know I am left.
Two people with the punk adjacent read on this one, back to back almost.
Left to live, give me disease. Paranoia lives within my soul. Grotesque gentility. From the depth of isolation. The speech of the tunnels. Exit devilish. Honesty, my only wish.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this. It's certainly a bit more experimental, which makes sense of progressive metal from the early 90s. I'm appreciating some of the interesting ideas, but I'm not sure it's coming together for me.
They grin, discarding the fascination of a world. They grin, formed from the mornings and the sin, hiding in the shadows of the sun. They grin.
The high-pitched drone behind that too. We have the static drone and then the quickness of the interesting counter ideas there. Can't speak today. Yeah, I think I agree with both of those sentiments. I'm not sure if I enjoy it, but there's a lot of interesting ideas going on, and it's not boring. Around every corner, there's something new. Yeah, paints, we already have a selection. You can find the list in the pinned comments or underneath the video. But if you'd like to add one, you can head on over to Patreon and join the cult, as the Youth Worship Explosion mentions. There's the link if you're interested. You gotta be at the critic or higher tier Okay, this moment's kind of nice.
Cover the nature in the fires, raise the dust and Arctic dreams.
The vocals don't really bother me, but I certainly hear them just a little off center. The initiation ritual is a secret. They'll discover it when they need to discover it. You don't need to be scaring people off. All right. Hey. What's going on? You're on autoplay now too? Oh my geez, my computer is rebelling against me. Technology, for real? Where's the band from? That's a really good question. I think the song started to form into something by the end of that. It started to get a little more grasp of what the heart, the core of the song was, and how to extrapolate from that. We began to see more patterns in the riffage, in the atmosphere. It was still a series of ideas with very little connectivity between them, but at least I could start to see patterns in the compositional style. I could start to see an identity to the track. I'll have a serious word with technology. But I don't know if I enjoyed the entirety of it. As many said, there's some cool riffs, but there's also a lot of ideas that felt like throwing things at a wall and not even seeing what sticks, just doing it. Just putting a bunch of ideas back to back and hoping that the end result is good, or at the very least interesting, which I think they succeeded on that line, but I don't know if the song ended up being good. It feels very experimental. Florida did have a death metal scene, but I don't think it was the only area death metal was growing in. But yeah, Florida is home to a lot of big death metal bands. And see, that's kind of where I sit on it too. It is more of a series of ideas. And like I said, at the end, they did kind of start to bring some concepts together. The half step rise and lower, or well, sometimes it was half step, sometimes it was whole step. So I'm just going to say the step up and then step back down. They did frequently. That became sort of a signature element of the riff. Sometimes we get a little bit of it, sometimes we get a lot of it. Layering shows up in a lot of this too. But interestingly, we didn't see either of these properties in the first couple of riffs, which I think is why they felt a bit more disjointed from the rest of the track. But it does start to form as if the vision is blurry and starts to come into focus. It just doesn't quite happen fast enough for me. The drum work is fine. I think as interesting, both melodic and harmonic, that the guitar and bass are. It's kind of wild that the drums aren't more diverse. A couple of nice riffs, but it's kind of it. And the vocals, I think, are the most static part of this. I think it's going to be one of those love it or hate it styles. I'm not a big fan of it. It's kind of shouty. It's got that crust punk thing going on. But I guess it works for this energy. So, inspired by Atheist? Okay. And they put out an album this decade as well. Would have expected a fatter bass presence. Honestly, the bass was kind of big already. It fluctuated though, and I think that's one of the things I wasn't a big fan of. Sometimes the bass was super loud and cut through everything, and other times it's barely audible. I would have liked something more in the middle, even if it was consistent, rather than this really large shift in volume. But I do like how the bass had lines, both counterpoint and harmony. It wasn't just pedal tone, it contributed to the melodic elements in this track. I'm a huge fan of that. You're hearing Green Day blaring over everything. Green Day's good stuff, though. Yeah, I don't think that inspired me to dig into more, primarily because also, I'm just not really a death metal kind of person, but I enjoyed the creativity of it, and I will always appreciate a band that will try to do something new, even if they fail at it. And I wouldn't even call that failure, it just never quite stuck the landing. Some really cool flips and twirls, but just kind of failed at the last second. Yeah, definitely let me know more what you think of it. Trial and error. And the thing is that probably inspired, or maybe not necessarily this band, but trial and error in general will inspire bands who will hear those ideas and have the ability to refine them down. This is the whole thing about iteration versus innovation. Usually those skills can be very separate. You're going to create new things first and then refine them later. And sometimes other people are going to be the ones who refine those ideas. And that's how genres become better. That's how sounds get improved. So I'm glad that there are bands out there just putting out stuff like what we listen to that people are going to enjoy or be influenced by or appreciate, even if it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Yeah, evolution and the snowball effect. All right, we have Ichika Nito? Is that how that's pronounced? Didn't this guy get exposed for faking all his playthrough videos recently? Yeah, I saw that video too. I don't have a big issue with that. He's obviously a great composer, even if he's miming to pre-recorded stuff. I still think maybe that should have been mentioned, but I'm here for the composition usually anyway, so I'm cool. Let's see. Context on this one. The track's called Orb. I love that. This one comes from Wormy, some Polyphia adjacent guitar with some really nice melody and movement. All right. Was it actually an expose? It was basically like 26 minutes of over 100 examples of the video not lining up with the audio, and basically proof after proof after proof after proof after proof for half an hour of miming. This is one of the most intricate, I wouldn't even say it's a really interesting video. It's basically this guy said, I have all this proof and I'm putting it out there. That's it. But like I said, the composition is still there. He's still writing all this music and maybe he can even play it. But instead of putting the time in to perform it, for the video, he just plays the audio and then mimes to it. And sometimes the miming isn't great. So I don't even know if he can't play the guitar. I think he still can. He just chooses not to. So I don't know. It's one of those cases where I don't think it's as bad as some people are going to blow it up to be. But it is one of those things where I kind of wish it would have been mentioned earlier by the creator. Like, these videos are not 100% live. But that's just social media as a whole. So yeah, it's not really that big of a deal. It's lame, but not terrible. Yeah. All right. Let's dive into this. See what's going on with Orb. I love that's just a great name for a track. Lack of transparency. Exactly. What in the world was that? Here we go. I would have just been happy with like a rotating orb and then sound waves coming off of it that match the music. I don't know what an 8D audio visualizer is, but that sounds pretty cool. What is 8D? Now I'm intrigued. Oh, I love that kind of stuff. I didn't know it was called 8D though. I was just called that. I don't know, there was a term for it. Spatial displacement audio or something. It's not so much the music videos. He has a really big like Instagram channel or something where he posts little 30-second snippets often. I actually didn't know he did full music videos. I only knew him for his short form content. Beautiful track though. One thing that I think this does better than most Polyphia I've heard is inject emotion into the technicality, and I think I really like that about his playing. Like, I felt heart to that. I felt an emotional narrative. Doesn't have the awful trap beats. You know, as much as I'm not a fan of Polyphia, I do love when they mix trap into their writing. I always found that to be kind of sick, even if it is a bit more on the technical side of my enjoyment. So I don't know if I can agree with that entirely. But I do find that Polyphia's music tends to be a bit too clinical. Much like Haken, I kind of have an emotional disconnect from it because it's just so clean and almost emotionally distant, focusing entirely on the technical aspect of the performance. Look how cool this harmonic shift is. Look at how fast we can play. Look at all these different techniques of slides and taps and stops and mutes. It never really grabs me, but I feel like there's an emotional heart to this track, at least, that I really enjoyed. It's beautiful. And it is just guitar, which I think is pretty cool too, because I didn't even think about that. The song just felt full and natural, despite the fact there's no other instrumentation to it. We need to see if Brian enjoys Sleep Token trap beats. Sleep Token almost wound up on the Album of the Year list, which if y'all haven't watched, I released yesterday midday, at least my time. It was kind of weird. I wanted it out by like 10 a.m., which is usually when I do my extra videos. I don't want it too close to the usual 5 p.m. release. But, dude, that video. I'm so tired after this week of work. This week of work? Yeah. If you if you think I'm less coherent today as far as my speech, it's because I've been doing like 12 to 14-hour days for a week and a half straight. I would have been fine except for the album review audio got destroyed somehow. Well, actually, I know how it happened. It's not going to happen again. But that added an extra like 6 hours of work for me, and I'm so mad about it. Brian should react to this with 30-second clip miming to his pre-recorded voice. It's funny because if y'all have watched the album review from yesterday, I mentioned at the beginning that I had to scrap all the audio if music was present. And that's my fault because I don't record on 2 tracks, and I've already switched OBS over to doing that, so I don't have to worry about that again. But I actually thought about trying to do basically ADR and recording what I said on top and matching, you know, my movements and cadence and all that. It is impossible, dude. I have such an admiration for actors who have to do that, have to go in and perform ADR and record to what they acted previously. And that's why I gave up and did captions. It was ridiculous. How did it happen? So I actually didn't have internet on the day I recorded it, but I knew ahead of time. So I made some personal backups of them, of the tracks, and I found a way for OBS to use that and still extract the metadata, which is how I still had the album art and the timestamping and all that. But it was playing through OBS. So I had to monitor that source so that I could hear it in my headphones. But instead of picking monitor only, I put monitor and output. So OBS was recording it, and then I was also outputting it again through the monitoring, which is why it was delayed. And yeah, lesson learned. That's the first time I've done that, and I made a pretty big mistake. You're your own boss, you're doing it wrong. If you're working yourself to exhaustion, obligatory naps from now on. I did take some mental breaks here and there, but I just had so much work, and it was all due on Saturday, and I just crammed it, man. Knowing that after that day, I'd be good. Well, kind of good. I didn't get, I don't have early access for tomorrow recorded yet. I'm tossing up if I should do that tomorrow and just forget about early access or try to get it done today. But there's no school tomorrow too, so I have more stuff on my plate for, it's not a good week, man. I'm so done. I'm done with January. Let it be February already. It's about being bad at miming, not the miming itself. That's an interesting perspective to have on that. I think it was more about the miming, but it was discovered because the miming was also sloppy. That's my take on it, though. We're mad because the videos were labeled. And I think there's also a part of music YouTube where everything that is presented live is understood as live. There are a ton of people who sing a cappella with no further changes. It'll just be a couple of people in a kitchen and they're singing the most beautiful harmonies. But if you go and analyze the audio, it is compressed. The pitches are locked. They're using pitch correction on them, but they present it as no microphones, listening to the acoustics of this kitchen. We're all in perfect pitch with each other. And I think people, just like the Nikita or Ichika videos, sorry, his last name's Nito. I mashed his 2 names together. Just like the Ichika videos, they're presented as live. It's just him sitting on a chair in his room. What reason do you have to think that the video or the audio has been manipulated? And it's just not mentioned. And I think that's my take on it, but it's also a lot of Instagram. Instagram music is full of this live performances that don't necessarily say live, but visually. Yeah, dude, they're live. There's no other way to read it. It doesn't look treated. It doesn't look like a music video. Why would you have any reason to think it wasn't a live performance? And I think that's when people feel duped, which is exactly what happened with the Ichika videos. Yeah, competition, wanting to grow fast, wanting to stand out. And also, Instagram is about perfection. It's about the filters. It's about removing the blemishes. It's about presenting only a portion of your life, the one that's glamorous, the one that makes you look like a guitar god, the one that makes it look like you're constantly traveling all over the world or that you're rich. You have to present a perfect version of yourself in order for the algorithm to grab you. I understand the pressure. I understand why Ichika did it. So I just wish this is less about Ichika and more about a symptom of short form content in general and social media at large. And I wish there was an answer to it other than feed the machine. Because if you don't, you get lost in the algorithm and you just don't get as big as you should be or could be. Because you have decided you want to go the routes of imperfection, of humanity, of hearts, of authenticity. So that's how economy and competition works, exactly. So it's a shame, I think. There's definitely a timeline where Ichika wouldn't have felt the pressure to put out these super perfect versions of his videos. And I think he still would have been a big hit, just maybe not the guitar god that he kind of got put on a pedestal as. And that kind of sucks too, because he did get put on a pedestal. I absolutely believe it by his fans, and you kind of have to start living up to that. I mean, it's social media in a nutshell, honestly. Anyways, that track was gorgeous. I loved it, but I've been a fan of Ichika's stuff before too. I haven't listened to a lot of his stuff, and like I said, I didn't even know he had official music videos out. But every time I've heard his work, I've always enjoyed it. I think he has a good amount of heart in his more technical playing, and I think this was a good showcasing of that. Not enough orbs in the video. Yeah, it was a pleasant track. All right. Let's dive into the next one. We got some Geistlicht? Geistlicht? I don't know how to pronounce that. Definitely looks German though. Licht. I think that, I don't know, man. Lonely Path Through the Mounds. First one was close. I figured it was, but in English it sounds like, I mean, Geist is like ghost, right? Ghost light. Okay. So like in my American brain, I translated it as ghost licked, which is like a weird phrase. You don't think you'll nail the pronunciation of the German CH. It has a lot of gutturalness, compression to it, right? I can hear it in my head. I don't think I can pronounce it though. Gaslight. Oh, that's good. It doesn't? Okay, then I'm mishearing it then. It's breathy and airy? Yep. I'm gonna have to listen to that one too, because I don't even think I can imagine that. Oh, there's two CHs. See, I'm thinking of the one that's at the back of the throat. Yeah, the harder one's probably what I'm thinking of then. So this is a soft one. Interesting. There's so many little nuances. It's so cool. Can't read it as anything other than lich. All right, what do we got here? Context. From Infinity, no context at all. Just diving straight into this. Let's check it out, see what's going on with them. Making a tent out of the tongue? Oh, okay. So like the tip of the tongue's behind your bottom teeth and it arches up. It took me a second to figure out how to do that. Yeah, muscle work sounds about right, especially since it's sort of a foreign muscle placement for American. They are from Germany, though. Hamburg. Yep, sit behind the teeth and the middle up at the roof. The electronic is really interesting, especially that more 80s synth that we kick this off with. I'm not sure it's redeeming it for me, but I am enjoying it more than I would if it wasn't there. Nice little 6/8 here too. Well, it can also be felt in 4. Fairy tale metal. I like that. It kind of does have like a folkish element to the harmony, but it never really goes into full folk. And I don't know if some of that is like the timbre coloring it as well, because it is on modern synth. That doesn't feel very old-timey at all. I was thinking the same thing about this ending. Oh, it's not the ending. I kind of wished it was. The sound thinning out felt really good. Like Spiral Out mentioned, it's very powerful. But I think what was actually played ended up feeling a little less impactful for me, and then ramping it up back to this, it kind of lost me. Yeah, all is lost moment, 100%. It felt lonely, like the title suggests. Oh, now I'm even more upset because we got back to the metal for 30 seconds just to redo what we had done without any impact or variance or change. We just had to hit the chorus one more time, and that feels more cookie cutter than functional. Whereas I think that the synth section would have been a really good ending. But it's possible too that, you know, it means something thematically, lyrically. I just found it to be a bit anticlimactic to climb back up and then not do anything with the energy. But this is an interesting track. It is black metal. It is lo-fi black metal, I'd even say. Not the lowest we've heard, but not really clear either. But then the synths, man, they're interesting. They bring melody, they bring interesting harmony, they bring brightness to a track that doesn't really have much. I don't know that I enjoyed it. I see a couple of y'all are going to look more into it. Yeah, yeah, it definitely has a folky element to it. And like I had mentioned, I think it's because that folky part is played by the synth that it feels contrasting. Like it wants to be folk, but doesn't feel like folk. And I think it's because it's done with modern music or modern instruments. And I found that to be an interesting bit of clashing going on too. I will say though, it is quite cohesive. I thought that was a pretty nice part of it. The lead melody on the synths feel right. They feel in place, not just within themselves, not just atmospherically, but also alongside the blackened elements, the guitars and the constant bass kick and all that stuff that's going on. They don't even sound too out of place with the vocals. So I think it works. Even if it's not my cup of tea, it is still black metal at the end of the day. Folkened black metal rather than black and folk metal. It's an interesting little idea though. When did this come out? 2022. Okay. Much more recent than I expected. And they put one out January of last year. So they're still active. For those who are interested. Next up we have some Predatory Void, which I think I've been interested in since yesterday, because in the AOTY list, I think someone had mentioned this band. Emerging from Ghent's fertile heavy scene in 2021, uniting members of Amun-Ra, Oathbreaker, Crossbringer, Cobra the Impaler, and Carnation. I know Amun-Ra and Oathbreaker, at least. This is going to be pretty heavy. I don't know about the other three, but I don't think they're going to lighten things up. I'm missing out on the language tangent. I know, I'm doing my best. I'm keeping an eye on it, learning stuff, but not trying to contribute or derail today's stream, as we are already an hour in and only 1/3 through with the songs. On a very metal-inspired run today, yeah. The track is Contemplation in Time. Oh, okay. Good call. All right. This one. Dude, those high screams are gnarly. Ooh, I didn't even pick up on that, but yeah. Between the compression and the range, the vocals are very close to the guitars, which is wild. I'm trying to think of any metal band that I can think of that does that because of the fact that there's so much that could bleed over between the two, but I think that's kind of the point of this. I was going to mention early on that the vocals, as loud as they appear to be, they are screamed, kind of got lost in the mix. But I think it actually is to sort of put them in line with the guitars for moments like there at the end. Yeah, wild stuff there. The riffs are interesting because they teeter on the knife's edge between consonance and dissonance. Some of them leaning a bit more into a dissonant tone, some of them leaning a bit more into a consonant tone, creating this feeling of being just at the periphery of danger or tension or unease, whatever they're trying to explore in this track. Pear had mentioned out that the bridge brought in a bit of a discomfort, or what was the word that ominous was the word that they used. Yeah, that was a really nice move to that point too. It once again created a bit more of an ambiguous feeling. We don't know what's going on here. And I think that that ambiguity between comfort and discomfort, safety and danger is something that's fairly prevalent in this track. Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep an eye on them. When does this come out? February 6th. And it's going to be a short EP, right? Yeah, 4 tracks. Dang. That's either going to be just enough or not enough. I think it really depends on how heavy or extreme the other 3 tracks are going to be. But both of the tracks released are only 4 minutes in length. There's a possibility this ends up being a 16-minute EP. That feels incredibly short. I hope they can keep this energy up, though. It is rather emotive. I think a lot of that comes down to the variability of the guitars, sometimes just bottoming it out and being these heavy tones, and other times focusing on higher pitched stuff, almost on the cusp of being too high pitched. And I really appreciate it. Once again, it's all about balance. I think that's the thing that stands out to me on this track, is ensuring that everything is balanced. Nothing becomes too extreme while being obviously an extreme sound. Overall, perfect balance between dissonance and harmony. Yeah. Yeah, that one goes into the list. And I think yeah, I have this pulled up. Um So the only thing I have on my list for February is MX Lonely, so that's good. Something else to look forward to in that month. This month, I mean this week and next week are going to be huge for me. I got 4 releases between these two. Listen to some other stuff by them, more like Technical Blackened Death. Okay. I'm going to hold off until this EP comes out, but I'm excited. Converge. Sweet Pill, they're 50-50. They have some really strong stuff, but they also have some stuff that bounced off of me. But Converge in February, I gotta make a note of that too. Um, yeah, solid track though. That's what I want in heavier stuff is balance. I just want a lighter side to the heaviness, which probably feels counter to what most people want heaviness for, listening to heavy music to listen to heavy music. I just want the extremity of it. All right. Have you seen or heard either of the new Flea songs? I haven't. I didn't even know Flea had self-titled stuff out. Converge is the 9th, possibly. 2, 9. All right. This next one is from McKinley Dixon called Magic Alive. Have we had McKinley on the channel before? The name sounds familiar. This one comes at us from FHI. More hip hop. That's all you need to know about it. All right, let's kick it then. Completed a solo EP a ways back that was very interesting.
I got a blanket with me in the riding. I'll make it so my niggas never dying. Maybe escape if we take the skies in. I got a blanket with me in the riding. I'll make it so my niggas never dying. Maybe escape if we take the skies in.
I'm digging that descending bass line.
There we go, dropping his baby off. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, we watch the boy as he cross. Go from the hand to elbow, man, so just a hefty cost. Think by losing memories, keep a finger on my loss. I'ma run it real quick, just hold your bladder and turn up the volume, nigga. Trying to hear radio chatter. The birds, the trees, the sky, what they all say matters. But you want me be responsible for liquor stores, better find. Tattered feathers became the Achilles heel. Chasing affinity to describe how sunshine feels on the red moon. Black sun, father figure, mama's gun. Back room, one of one dance.
And chimes, even I think were there.
You seen it too right, babies with sun and eyes. Dancing under the moonlight. Who's hollering, clapping, and never missing a beat. So you seen a nigga rise and laugh at you in the street. It's a lie. Got a blanket with me in the riding. I'll make it so my niggas never dying. Maybe escape if we take the skies in. Yeah, yeah. I got a blanket with me in the riding. I'll make it so my niggas never dying. Maybe escape if we take the skies in. We got your mama call out from the window pane. How I know all of these boys who grew up with the window stained. With the phoenix on his shoulder, ironic the boy got flamed. It's the summertime, niggas gon' die if your ankle sprained. Niggas kill Gotti, get too damn close to me. Trick bag, got spells and a little something for grandma's groceries. Took a walk around the block and all the youngest quoting me. We ain't really heard of you, my nigga, who was you supposed to be? Running back that magic track, I hear a bop. I'm my father's child, so of course I'ma dip out hip-hops. I ain't do my job, but this come off as a little shock. But me and my niggas never had affinities for locks. And it stacks, instead of us watching it all collapse, we huddle in between us, a butterfly's wings flat. Face away and say, recently I've been feeling a little trapped. Put your hand on my shoulder, show the directions mapped. Haha, and I believe it going through this damn shit. It really got me believing to live forever, to tell stories of who light up your eyes. We ran, we dance, survive, we fly. That's magic alive.
Yeah, dude.
It's magic alive. It's magical. It's magic alive.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, this came out last year. 2025, June. That was fun. That gets pulled down. Easy. Easy. This is what I want. Okay, so I know I make a lot of demands. When I talk about black metal, the things I need in it if I'm going to enjoy it, which tends to change what black metal is frequently. Hip hop's kind of the same way in that I'm familiar with a very core sound of hip hop, but I want something very different from that. And I think this is a track that really dives into that. I want more musicality. The groove is still here. The bass still presents the low end foundation, but the groove is changing constantly. The bass is contributing to melodic elements, and the rest of the instrumentation is stuff that just doesn't always show up in other hip hop music. So I agree. The music here really stands out, and that to me elevates this above a lot of hip hop that I've heard because it doesn't give up the flow. It doesn't give up the lyrical density or lyrical meaning. This is still a powerful track on the lyrical side, and it still presents the lyrics foremost in the mix, but it fills out everything else, and I love that. But I also love how the music isn't just there. It isn't just well composed, it also fits in with everything else. It's the magic. I love the transition into the chimes in the midway of the track, but also that final moment was incredibly engaging. Hip hop with music. I mean, I guess technically that's the wrong word for it. Hip hop has music usually, but denser music, I suppose, would be the proper way to describe that. It's just, this song feels happy. It feels warm and inviting, but it also feels at times magical. And I love how that gets worked in because that's a core metaphor in the lyrical side of things. Absolutely gorgeous. I love the trade-offs. I love the tonal shifts. I love the vibe changes. Everything in this was just so well done. I have no complaints about this track at all. Was it also alive? I wanted to say there was some sort of metaphor there because I kept hearing magical live, but I don't know. It was very cool though. It was very magical. It felt like magic. I'm down for it. I got to check out more from this dude because that was a fantastic introduction. You have a hunch for what it was and it's dark? Uh, I don't know if I want to know that. Story has to do with the album title. Oh, the album's also called Magic Alive. I'll go through it myself. We'll see where that takes me, and maybe if I'm a bit confused, Johnny, I'll hit you up on your take, at least in that track in particular. Next up, we have. I hate when that happens. I got to find a nice way for OBS to word wrap without screwing up all of the dimensions. But yeah, we're going to be checking out something from Destiny 2 Beyond Light, looking at Deep Stone Lullaby by Michael Secrist, Skye, Lewin, and Michael Salvatori. Feeding the Outcast song into next month's stream. I need more Outcast. I mean, I grew up on Outcast's hits, but I remember when we checked out Bombs Over Baghdad, and it was more dense than I remember and more lyrically savvy than I remember. Granted, when I heard it, I was a teenager. I wasn't really paying attention too much to it. But, hearing it now, I'm like, yeah, dude, I got to dig more into that. I just haven't had time. All right. See, some Destiny 2. We have context for this from Johnny. This track plays during a transitional jumping puzzle section on the Deep Stone Crypt raid in Destiny 2 with all the ambient sounds sucked out because you're in space. All you hear clearly is the lullaby and the raving monologue of a mad scientist's AI clone of himself. A truly special experience in gaming. All right. Let's kick it. See what's going on with Deep Stone Lullaby. This is also a dynamic track, so I'm going to mute myself. Y'all do what you want with the volume, but at its peak, it is as loud as all the other tracks we listen to. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I think that would be something that probably fits better in the moments of the video game to have that experiential component of the visuals and also the dialogue that's going on. It does have a nice build up, but it's very vibes based. I think it's a cool vibe. There's obviously a lightness to it, which I think is where the lullaby part comes in, though I don't find it to be very dreamlike. At least not in the sense of rest and calm. It feels exploratory, it feels expansive. It feels like there's so much room to discover what's here. It's not just a small space. And I love that. And it does grow. We hit that really nice peak, and I thought that was fantastic because we kind of hit it and then it evaporates. And then we get these very large ethereal chords to wrap the song up. It's a neat little journey to go on. But I think that, like soundtrack music kind of can be at times, it is part of a multimedia project and it is a little diminished on its own without context. So maybe it's also because I was hyped up a little bit on it. So it's calling it a very special, moment. Oh, Johnny, are you typing out the entire dialogue that goes with it? First time I did this raid was with an old clan. I don't care how many times you all fail the jumping puzzle. I'm muting everyone until we finish. Wow. That's all right. You did post the monologue. Yeah, I think this is great for what it is, and it's a cool little journey. But I'm kind of missing the context of why it was impactful. But that's on me. I'm missing the context for it. It does do what it does well, though. Nice emotional exploration and a feeling of vastness and expansion. And it does hit that really nice peak. I'm happy it does that instead of just being a vibe throughout. It has the point of impact that I think really works. An OST for video games should be able to stand on its own. Requesting a song. Yeah, we have the song list already. You can find it underneath the video or in the pinned comments. If you'd like to request one, we have slots open for next week. You can join the Patreon and join at the critic or higher tier, and everybody gets one request every month if you'd like to join on for that. What made this special is the juxtaposition of the ambient, slow, pretty music over the haunting, mad AI dialogue and enemies shooting at you and enemies falling into the void of space. Yeah. Yeah, it's all, everything that gets wrapped around the experience where this is a part of that. That's also nice too. It's the rest after the stress. Yep. I don't know if a video game OST should be able to stand on its own because it's assumed that it is part of the experience. I mean, that would be like, I don't know. I guess sometimes some games the visuals can stand on their own. Sometimes the mechanics can stand on their own if you rip out the audio and visual. I mean, that's prototyping right there. So maybe it isn't completely unfair to think that the soundtrack should also stand on its own. But I think that what heightens a lot of it is also when it all comes together. And I think for a lot of people, the soundtracks that do stand on their own are ones that they've experienced the game already, and the soundtrack also still has the context of when it was present. Yeah, context is super important for an OST. Now, that doesn't mean that a soundtrack can't stand on its own. I have listened to soundtracks, actually, long ago. I had mentioned that one of my favorite works is Doyle W. Donahue's soundtrack for Warhammer Dawn of War 2. I've never played Dawn of War 2, and I love that soundtrack. So it is possible, but I don't think it should be expected, you know? It is part of a larger whole at the end of the day, and it is designed to be part of the larger whole. Or at least I hope it is. Sometimes things get made compartmentalized and then smashed together at the end, and you just kind of got to hope the vision works. But that's a totally different story about video game the process of video game creation and the shortcomings of how it works right now in most cases. Persona 5 is a counterexample. Much of the music can be listened to as standalone. Absolutely. I mean, that soundtrack's just solid, though. That didn't even need to be written for a game. They could have just released that as an album and it would have been great. Tempted to submit some Banjo-Kazooie. You know, I can't think of a single song, but I haven't played that game in decades. So I wonder if anything would be triggered, you know? If it's a common song, maybe something from an early level I would have played often. The standing on its own makes the music great instead of just good. I can stand behind that. Same with Cuphead. Yeah, another one that's just really... I think it's because both of those kind of go for... instead of creating music for moments, they just kind of create solid tracks. And I find that they impact the music less, impact the experience less emotionally, but they do stand on their own better. So, Undertale being context dependent. Yep. You'd love to see me play the Persona series and cringe at all the unnecessary pervy stuff. I played Persona 3 back in the day. I think I had like the PS2 classic on PS3 or something like that. I didn't make it very far though. Something about the core loop didn't quite engage me, even though I enjoyed the like visual novel school sim element of it. The dungeon though just did not click for me, which is funny because it's an RPG. Song of Healing, what's that from? I'm going to get this next one queued up. Tim Bowness? Bowness. I really hope... Part of me hopes that's a last name, like legit, and part of me also hopes it's a stage name because I think it's really fun on both sides. Majora's Mask. Never played it. Never. I know it's a big title. I'm not a big Zelda fan, though. I know blasphemy. There's only like 3 good Zelda games. And I feel like there's some of the more... I mean, Link's Awakening, and then the 2 Oracle games. That's it. Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword. Just toss them all out, man. I'm not a big fan. The Majora's Mask song is sad while being in major and Lydian. That's interesting. Not impossible, but you're definitely working against the form there. I will be with the music of those games. Maybe. Maybe. Dig the art style of Persona, but don't think the game's something for you. That's fair. It usually has very striking visuals, so... I mean, especially Persona 5. All right, Tim Bowness from Ramono. Find this song quite interesting. Tim Bowness works sometimes with Steven Wilson. This is one of those times, but Wilson didn't sing or play anything, was more in the producer and engineer role. Okay. Full orchestra for the Skyward Sword OST? I'm down for that. All right, let's kick this one off. See what's going on with Tim.
The bridge over the traffic.
You know, already though, I can hear the Steven Wilson element to it.
Conversations after dark.
Not even necessarily on the production side, but almost on the compositional side.
Walks and roads to nowhere.
Is this a bonus track on the album?
Enclosed parks. The way what this could make you to recall. The quick defenses and the temper didn't bother you at all. Sing to me, she said. Sing to me, she said.
This is another track that sounds very familiar to me, but I can't place it.
Sing to me, she said. Sing to me, she said. Seeking magic in somebody else's world.
Ooh. Not just muted horns, but also muffled too. I feel you, Mark. I'm hoping there's some progression here.
And the light begins to fade as traffic lights in supermarkets.
Oh, so more than just the solo stuff, they did a duet too.
Where you felt afraid. Sing to me, she said. Sing to me, she said.
Now it really feels like something. What am I thinking of with this? Maybe I've just heard this song before? I find that unlikely though.
Sing to me, she said. Sing to me, she said. Seeking magic in somebody else's world. The way she looked at you, remembered what this could make you do, recall.
Oh, I think I know what it is. There's portions of this that I think remind me of Bittersweet Symphony. Maybe you're right too, Charm Tiger. I really hope you get your wish. I hope you get your woes. It got really dark in here. It looks like it's about to storm.
What this could make you do, recall.
Oh. No, no, no. Uh, okay, just don't play. It's a fine track. It definitely reminds me of a very specific era of the 90s, a very soft-spoken, emotionally engaging, but not harmonically moving track. As y'all pointed out, this is the stereotypical lighter song that you might hear. 90s might even be a bit late, maybe even a late 80s sound too. It's fine. Yeah, I don't think I'm upset with it. I think it does a great job of growing, and I love where it goes once you bring the violin in. The rock band comes in and gives it some energy. We have a nice place to cap off, and then we diminish it, kind of roll it out for the finale. I think it works. I don't have much of an issue with that, but it's very, what's the word? Inoffensive? It doesn't really make me feel anything, but it is technically well done. And I know that that's a subjective thing. Some people are going to listen to that and really get moved by it. But I didn't get much out of it. And of course, I would not call it soulless. No, I think when I listen to him singing, he's putting himself into it. He's presenting that song as an extension of himself. I wouldn't call it soulless. I wouldn't call it I had another word in mind, but I can't remember what it is. Yeah, the vocal delivery is fine. You want to be more offended. I do. I do. I think art should be offensive. All arts. If you don't offend anyone, then you're not saying anything that everyone else isn't feeling. I mean, okay. Did I want more blast beats in there? No. Have I eased up on the offensiveness of blast beats this year? Yeah, probably. I listened to too many, and now it just doesn't have an effect on me. I feel cold when I listen to black metal now. Is that how I'm supposed to feel? It's been done 1,000 times before. I don't know if that's a reason not to do it again. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that, but I don't think it's wrong either. Because at the end of the day, art is about the self. And it's about self-expression. It's about using, in this case, sound as an extension of who you are and to convey your feeling and your ideas. And if this is how this person wanted to convey this, I'm 100% behind that. Like I said, it doesn't feel corporate. It doesn't feel calculated. It does feel safe, but it also feels like a natural extension of Tim, too. That's why I don't think I would use the word soulless for it. It just doesn't grab me personally. I assume that people are offensive. Yeah, I would hope so. As palatable and middle of the road as I try to make all of my takes, I still offend people. That's how life is. if there isn't somebody out there who finds you offensive, then you're the same as everyone else. It becomes robotic. That's why I think offensiveness isn't anything unusual. It isn't absurd. It's the status quo. I, I don't know if I'm presenting this properly, or maybe language is faltering a bit. Offensive reactions, but I think it's just the way life is. We're all. Here's the thing, okay? I don't think that the word offensive means to cause a massive affront to someone, but just to create division or strife. I would be very confused and honestly upset if all of you agreed with every single thing I've ever said. Let me look up the word offensive. Maybe I'm thinking it's a bit softer of a word than it is, much like when I used mundane incorrectly when I was talking about ABBA one time. I learned after that. All right, let's see. Offensive. Oh, offensive seems to relate specifically to an attack. Hmm. Yeah, see, I think this was a language thing. I think I was using offensive wrong. I used it in maybe more of a colloquial term of being at opposition of. You agree with everything I say? Okay. Yeah, decimating. Brian wants to feel attacked. Not being offensive is trying not to be offensive to anyone. And I think that's kind of it right there. If you try to appease everyone, you're going to appease no one. You remember when Burzum fans were really offended by you? To be fair, I do think that is my most traditionally offensive reaction. I made it very clear where I stood on that track from the beginning and condemned the lyrical side of Burzum right from the start. So, yeah, probably my least open-minded reaction, but I think justified. Yeah, 100%. I don't remember the artist behind Burzum. I always forget his name. But yeah, he's a straight up eugenicist kind of guy. Very Nazi related. Varg. There we go. And his fans were not too happy with my video. In a different way than the Nightwish fans were not happy when I checked out some Nightwish stuff early on. All right. Well, I remembered that there was a murder thing going on, but I don't think I ever learned that he cut someone down on stage, and it was like a musical rival. Maybe that's wild. That's their fault for liking Nightwish. Mark, there's 4 tracks left. We're not going to make the typical 2-hour run, but it's not going to be as long as last week. It wasn't on stage. It was on. I'm so lost here. It was at an apartment. Okay, if it was on stage, that would have blown my mind. Like, dang, that's some premeditated stuff right there. That would have been wild. 2 biggest figures in Norwegian black metal. Yeah, see, I didn't know the context behind it. I knew he killed someone, and I think part of me knew they were also a musician of sorts, but I thought they were in the band. Like, I thought they were both in a band or something. I don't remember. But this is wild. All right. Trying to stay on track. Y'all can keep the Burzum talk if you want. As long as it's not praise, you'll get kicked out for that. I do have lines in the sand, dude. We're not going to cross them. This one has interested me because of this right here. This thumbnail looks crazy. And I saw parts of the video when I was doing the volume testing.
逆のストーリー東京コリー街は almost 40希望の未来遥か彼方のグローリー東京コリー東京コリー東京コリー東京コリー東京コリー東京コリー会社限界絶対読みたいけど破れない父さん大学限界毎日ネットに引きこもってる兄さんママ友限界現実逃避アイドルどっぷり母さん体と工夫に流れてきたあの旋律はラララムヤララムヤララムヤララムヤ東京コリー街は今日もボリーアクセクといつも途切れないソリー東京コリー人々は時希望の未来どこへ抜け出せない森東京コリー東京コリー東京コリー東京コリー東京コリー東京コリー一度きりの人生そば打つバイト
So much build up already.
一度きりの人生猫壁バイト始める兄さん一度きりの人生キャバクラバイト始める母さん
It's a dance I can do, so I'm enjoying it. I don't think we're gonna get the expansion though. It's just 4 people? Okay.
様々なイベントやプログラムなど市民の交流と親睦が深まっている。日本ではプレダトリーの楽しんでは笑顔があふれて
The over-exaggerated movements. 'Headbanging's the only dance you can do? That's probably a lie. I bet you can do a lot of cool dances. Some of them very unique to you. All of my dancing is unique to me. Oh. Hmm. Uh, so, so this is a dance track, and I think that's what threw me off. Most of this song is the drum beat with that chord progression that goes with it, and that's it. I feel all this building up in the track, and it never reaches a height, but that's on me. That's my expectations for it, knowing that it is a pretty straightforward dance track that kind of keeps a single pulse and groove and energy throughout, I think would lead to a less disappointing second listen. But I do feel like it just needed to go somewhere. They even waved goodbye. Now here I am criticizing them. I don't know. Let's stick to the positive. The solid beat. It's very danceable. I'm grooving with it the whole time. It has a very catchy hook to it. The melodies are well written. And I love the dancing, dude. I gotta learn these dance moves. There's like a cool bounciness to it, but it's also like wavy and loose. Very cool stuff. But I don't know, dude. Personally, I feel disappointed after listening to it. And it's not the fault of the band. It's a well done song. I just had the wrong expectations going in. They do their own choreography. So you're telling me that more dance moves that I could do will show up in their music videos? I might have to start learning some choreo from these people. Flappy Bird is so back. Oh, geez, I haven't thought of Flappy Bird in forever. When's the dance stream? Oh, I didn't do a dance for the AOTY video this year. I'm going to blame that on me being stressed out. The editing process of that and the album back to back was so bad, dude. Next year. Or maybe there'll be some before we get to next year. Little teaser for some things to come. I like the video more than the song. I'm kind of in that same boat. I was also excited for the tokusatsu style sets here. Having, the miniature cities and then, real actors of normal human size moving around them. I thought that was pretty cool. I was kind of stoked for it after seeing parts of the music video. Kind of let down again by the music. But yeah, I dug the vibe, dug the visuals. It's good for what it's doing. I just wanted more. But the video is really good. Yes, I agree with that. The choreo's good. It's just fun. There's a lot of funness to that. I think that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. It's a fun track. I'm overanalyzing it. Let's move on. Next up, we have some When. Sin the Sailor. There's so much about this that makes no sense to me. When is a terrible band name. And you'll see why when I get into the context here. It really messes with the grammar of sentence structure. When band, yeah. And Sin the Sailor. Sin is not a name. Not a proper name. Anyways, like who would name somebody Sin? So that's kind of awkward too. It's good for what they're doing. They're just not doing much. Yeah, it's a minimal track. I can agree with that, which fits for electronic, especially dance vibes. Minimalism works really well for that. So that feel when. That's it. You think Sin the Sailor works? I just don't think of Sin as a person. When's on first? Who's on first? All right, context for this. From the Youth Worship Explosion, When consists of multiple instruments. When consists of multi-instrumentalist Lars Penderson and is hard to describe and has dabbled in everything from industrial to psych pop. Using a lot of wild samples has been a part of the history for a while and mixes it seamlessly with live instruments to the point where sometimes it can be difficult to tell what is sampled and what is not. The song is one that manages to be a bit silly and eerie at the same time. All right, this is going to be quite interesting, I assume. Let's dive into it, see what's going on. It's just a symbol metaphor for an incarnation of sin. I think it's mostly because when I think of a sailor, I think of like an average Joe, not a metaphor. But I can see from that angle that it can work. Very eerie start. Hello, innocent Skye. How are you doing? Not gonna lie, kind of a sus name. I'm just like, is he really innocent? I don't know right now. Not doing song requests, but if you head on over to the Patreon, you can join at the critic tier or higher and get a request in next week. Everyone gets one request. Everyone. Oh, his name is just Sin the Sailor? Like that's his full name? His government name? Middle name The? Like Sinbad. You know, we started on a rather metal angle, but we're ending with groove, dude. And Sin and Popeye. Definitely feeling a bit of that psychedelic element. expecting, though. Psychedelic as drugs music? I tend to think of psychedelic when they're... It's more of a gut feeling. I can point it out. How would you describe psychedelic? When is not always this chill. And I was thinking of, well, when does it change then? Not when the band is not always this chill. Jeez. It's starting to get into like a trip hop area though. Now, them having a band called, or an album called Whenever, that's masterclass wordplay. Is there Morse code? Can you make it out? You know, this is the kind of music that if you put one of those inflatable flowing arm guys next to, they would dance really well to it. Like, that's the kind of like loose, flowy dancing I think works well with this.
I think I'll buy some for my mother.
Well, youth worship explosion, you got me on this one. I'm not sure what to think of it. It's interesting. When did this come out? 2007? Is that right? I know sometimes they're not always right. It reminds me, I think mostly in the sound effects, which might have been some samples used of like old 80s, 70s cartoon stuff. Stuff that you would find in like Merry Melodies or Hanna-Barbera cartoons. It's interesting because it gives almost a sepia tone to the entire track. It dips it in nostalgia, even though none of this is nostalgic to me. None of this track makes sense to me. It's eerie, but it's kind of creepy too. And it's always just off-putting enough for me to look at it. It almost has like musical uncanny valley, where parts of it, I'm like, yeah, dude, this is a song. I get it. Here's the rhythm. Here's the harmony. Here's the melody. That's how you make music. But it's also paired with really unconventional choices for timbres, primarily from samples, but also tonal ideas, harmonies. And it just ends up feeling off by just a little bit. And the eerie harmonies that go along with it just elevate that slightly unsettling feeling to it. And it's just so subtly not right, not traditional. And it's kind of bizarre. Wen finds the craziest samples, but the main guy is also a multi-instrumentalist, really great drummer especially. It's a lot of stuff you think are samples that are probably not. And see, that's crazy too. You had mentioned that it kind of blurs the line between where the samples are and what's real instruments. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know, dude. None of that was quite obviously something that I recognized, nor was it quite obviously any sort of obvious electronic sounds. Everything in there kind of has a naturalistic feel to it. Even if I can't place the instrument, none of it feels digital. You think I understand the track very well? I suppose that's the blessing and the curse right there. I don't feel like I get it, but I can describe it well. I would be interested if the Morse code translated to anything. Their first album is a 15-year compilation of early works. That's dedication, dude. A decade and a half of not putting out any, well, yeah, not putting out anything definitely get a bit of nostalgia, particularly for the composition, the atmosphere. But there's so many details I want to hear that I can't. The atmosphere of Don't Care. I mean, that's just 90s in general. This is definitely a good showcasing of that vibe, though. Abusing the whammy bar. Welcome to the 90s. And this does have a lot of like blues accentuation to it too, which blues loved whammy as well, so. Yeah, I like that. Fade in and fade out. It's a very cool combination here. It kind of grabs some of that apathetic 90s rock vibe that we saw in shoegaze and grunge, the little alternative rock style, and merges it with some of the blues rock that came from the era previous to it. And I think it pulls together all of these negative emotions, the overwhelming weight, the apathy, the feeling of being lost, and a general sorrow, and just mixes it all together into this depression soup of music and drenches it in reverb and whammy bars and bluesy melodies. And it works. I can't believe I've never heard of this group before, other than the fact that I was 3 when it came out. Also, were they a large group? Because, I mean, even with stuff that came out in the early 90s, I still heard of it eventually just because they were that popular. But pretty well known? Okay. Oh, well known in the UK. And maybe other countries too, but not the US. And I think that might be the thing right there. Maybe it just never came over to the States. Yeah, that might have been it. Because I think I would have enjoyed this if I had heard it in my formative years, because it does bring together a lot of ideas that generally I'm a fan of. 90s alt rock, I'm there. Blues guitar work, y'all know I love that. A generally dreary atmosphere on all of this, tying it all together like some sort of emotional glue. I mean, this comes together really well. And it would have been, I think, an introduction to more of a gazy atmosphere. I don't know if I'd classify this as shoegaze, but it definitely uses some of that hazy, compressed, fuzzy texture work in some of these places to create this heavy sort of like darkened sky element to it. So it comes together really well in that regard, and I love sort of the expressiveness of it between the vocals and the guitar work, the layering, the counterpoint. It does go on a little long for me personally. I think that's because a lot of it ends up feeling very samey, but I think that's just first listen issues. I think after I get past the atmosphere and really dig into some of the nuances of the melody and the structure, I don't think it would feel that way after I got more familiar with it. But yeah, dude, very solid combination of a lot of 90s sounds I enjoy. And it pulls it together not in disparate ways of experimentation, but in finding where they all overlap and really leaning into that. It ends up forming a really emotionally potent track. Big props for that. We're going to wrap this up because it feels like we can't have a stream without some sort of Toho track on it. Some Undead Corporation, DOUJIN. That last word just got cut off. DOUJIN works. Oh, yeah, it works. That makes sense. The title is Ijara? I don't know if that's an I or an L. It's got to be an I, right? Ijara. Ijara. That can't be right. I don't pronounce anything right on the first time. We have context for this coming at us from Donnie Truck. Here's a Toho arrangement by the metal band Undead Corporation Doujin Works, released last year. All right, I don't know what to expect for this. Let's just dive in. Fist of the North Star Toho art. I don't know a lot about Toho outside of like the general concept and the music for it, but yeah, that is not what I think of because most of the characters are like cutesy female characters. I don't think I've ever seen a jacked dude in anything we've done Toho related. So I didn't even think about that, but you're right. This is really out there as far as Toho related artwork. Let's dive in and see what's going on. Those are the only two options, Jack, Skye, or Waifu. Oh, generic ogre. I thought that was a Shrek ogre. The synth stuff is kind of nice on top of all the DB ideas. Fun guitar tones. Wait, that's it? That's how it ends. Okay. It's a fine song. Not my cup of tea. It's very straightforward death metal. But I'd even say maybe a little bit more into like a metalcore direction where it focuses on the sounds of metal, but it's not really riff heavy at all. It sounds aggressive, but a lot of it is breakdown. Hit a note, play a sick rhythm on it. It's what creates the groove. It's what makes it headbangable, but it also makes it more atmospheric based and, at least for me personally, a little less memorable. Even though sometimes death metal can just get very immemorable for me too. That's not a word. But if there's a solid riff in there, that might get stuck in my head. But without riffs, you just kind of have this generally heavy vibe, and the lack of contrast in the atmosphere and the vocals and the general texture and tone of it just kind of makes it all blur together for me. I do like the atmospheric stuff, the guitar tone at the end, slicer guitar effect. Yeah, that was crazy. I liked parts of it, but the general metallic sound just never really expanded for me personally. It's a fine track. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And if you enjoy deathcore or metalcore, you're probably really going to like it. But for me personally, it's kind of flat. It does one thing and does it really well, but as always, y'all know I like my contrast. You're a metalhead, but it was a miss. But you also like, well, no, because you do have some atmospheric tastes as well. So, yeah. I don't know, maybe it just wasn't, very iterative, not well done metalcore. Just good, not great. But synth was nice though. Synthetic. What would synthetic? I mean, would that be AI deathcore? I'm sure that was already a thing. I still remember, I think I've told y'all before, years ago, before all this AI stuff, someone had wrote a program to analyze rhythms in gent music and just created atmospheric gent music via, machine learning. So they sounded fine. I'm sure you could do the same thing with death metal, especially now that we have like large language model tools. I feel it's more about being aggressive than anything. And I think that's a really keen observation too, because it's the thing that I like least about in metal is walls of aggression. The aggression's nice, but I need contrast to it. And stuff like this, not necessarily this band, but sort of, this whole genre just kind of bounces off of me because it's just run out of 10 all the time. And that it kind of gets boring for me. Ooh, you were wondering if the growls are Vocaloid. I think they sounded too good for that, but honestly, I don't keep up with Vocaloid technology to know. But we have listened to some Vocaloids with compressed vocals, and they're very digital. They haven't quite reached the point of sounding real-ish yet, but I mean, it's possible that was too. Technology is crazy. It grows fast. Did you miss Undead Corporation? Yep, we just wrapped it up. Literally like a minute ago. Came in just a bit late. Also a bit late for the stream too, because that was our last track today. So, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I always enjoy our Sunday mornings or maybe afternoons or evenings for y'all. We listened to some cool music today. I got some stuff I want to look forward to, some stuff I will look forward to. And I don't know what we're doing next week. I don't think we have a full set of tracks. If you're in the critic or higher tier and you want to get a reaction out on live stream, make sure you get them to me. There's the Patreon live stream channel on Discord. There's the live stream schedule or request posts on Patreon. Get them out there. I think we only have like 4 or 5 set up for next week. So we'll probably do live requests if we don't get the slots filled up. Growling is a bigger challenge for AI. I think it is. And I don't know why. Well, okay, let me take this back. Not AI. Growling's a harder thing for Vocaloids because it's synthetic. And AI is just going to measure patterns in waves, in sound waves, and then reproduce them. I think AI could make the growling sound easily. I don't know how believable it would be. I don't go out of my way to listen to AI music, so I don't know what AI growling sounds like right now. But I think for Vocaloid, it's a little tougher because it's not machine learning. It's basically a virtual instrument that you have to make all the sounds for in order to work the syllables and the pitches together. And it's more complex in my mind than large language models, at least in this specific case. Yeah, we might get some Outcast on next month, so that'll be cool too. We got album openers coming up this week. Get excited for that. And if you haven't checked it out already, I put my favorite albums out yesterday. Very cool list, very heavy. If you liked the heavier side of this stream, you'll probably enjoy some of the stuff I have in my favorites. And I'm still looking forward to the comments coming in on that video with some of y'all's favorite albums of last year. Already, I've realized I've had two major oversights. One I knew about, and one I didn't. That second one, the artist has been in my favorites previously. So cool shirt, thank you. It's old, it's very faded, but I've always enjoyed it. And is that I don't know if that's paint or bleach. I don't know when either of them would have come in contact with my shirt. I didn't know that. Now I can't not see it. Totally missed the theme and suggestion. Dang. Well, don't forget to put your suggestions in for this week's theme. There's still I can't count. 6 hours, 6.5 hours left for this week's themes. So oh, it might have been when I dyed my hair blonde. Oh, well, yeah, it might have been actually. Dang, how do you know about that though? That was before the channel. Did I share a picture on Discord about that? I had hair like dirty blonde hair for all of an hour or two because I dyed it Joker green after that for a cosplay. But that was so long ago. You made it up and got a random bullseye. Dang, you're like a psychic, man. That's good. Get a Sharpie out and fix it. That's the nice thing about black t-shirts. All right. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. Get psyched for this week's stuff. The VOD will be up soon. I just realized during that video that I didn't record it. So I'm hoping I don't have to modify too much. Twitch sometimes removes audio for VODs, even when they're downloaded. So I'm kind of upset. This is just a bad week for me. I'm so done. Like when you painted your nails, I have nail polish, black nail polish, still in the bathroom. So, yeah. I don't think that was a tough one though. Y'all know I was an emo kid. Oh, and I also, I painted my nails black for emo Brian too. So, nah, you missed on that one. Your psychic powers are waning. All right, y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll catch y'all later.